are the opportunities in tourism in UP. And we've got as speakers Mr. Ashwini Kumar Panday, Special Secretary, Government of UP, and the MD of Uttar Pradesh Tourism Development Corporation, Mr. Vishal Singh, Vice Chairman, Ayodhya Development Authority, Mr. Raj Singh, Chairman, Antara Luxury River Cruises, Ms. Eva Sharma, Additional PCCF and Chairperson, Ecotourism Cell, Government of Uttar Pradesh, and Dr. Rajiv Goyal, Founder, Solutions Unlimited. To steer this session, I'd like to invite Mr. Prateek Hira, President and CEO of Tornos, and he brings with him, ladies and gentlemen, 27 years of experience and expertise in the tourism industry. He was also chairman of the IATO UP chapter for the 4th consecutive year. So congratulations to Prateek, and it's over to you now to steer this session. Can we have the mics working on the stage?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. After lunch session, the morning breakfast session, and after the post-lunch sessions are always difficult, but I think the panel is delighted to see that the hall is almost full. And many are hungry too, because they couldn't go. I mean, most of us are hungry because we didn't go for lunch, so that we can start the session on time. So we have a very illustrious panel with us, and because it's an illustrious estate that we are sitting in, and IATO is so grateful to be to the government of UP that they have invited us for the 37th convention. So last, when all of you, most of you, were in Lucknow was 26 years ago, and after 26 years, the 37th convention comes back to Lucknow. And in these 26 years, UP has changed drastically. तो वो जो कहते हैं कि इंडिया बदल रहा है, तो हो सकता है इंडिया बदल रहा हो, पर यूपी बदल गया है. I don't know how many of you would agree with this. People who have come maybe after 10 years, they would realize that how UP as a state has shaped up. And we have tried to cover the thrust areas of the government. The spiritual tourism. I'm not calling it religious tourism knowingly, because the spirituality is much more, it's a larger canvas than religious. So I am referring to places like Varanasi, places like Ayodhya, which were, Varanasi was always a super hit with foreign tourists when they had to see culture. But now we realize that Varanasi is surpassing its carrying capacity. So immediately we have another destination ready in UP, a state where gods were born. So you can imagine the intensity, the spirituality of the state that we are all sitting in. So that's one thrust area. Another thrust area that we have is wildlife and nature. So we were very depressed. We were very, very depressed when Uttar Pradesh was divided between, it became UP and Uttarakhand. We thought, oh, all is gone. The hills are gone, the forests are gone, the wildlife is gone. But then the forest department worked on it, is working on it still, and they are continuously giving you new wildlife areas, not just Dudhua. So Dudhua is of course one which is internationally known, and mind you, it is the real experience of a wildlife park which is wild in wild. So we have Eva Sharma from the Forest Department who will talk about this. And of course, Vishal Singh, who is from Ayodhya. He is presently the chairman of the Ayodhya Development Authority, and all the development work that is going on in Ayodhya is being managed by him. And all the brickbats of, initially you have all the brickbats coming on you. Something similar happened when the Varanasi corridor was being built. It was really very difficult, and I guess you were also involved in that corridor. So, knowingly and consciously, he was posted in Ayodhya to clear all the clutter, if I may say so, and which is being done. So, and then there is another area which is in focus for the government of UP and for the industry alike, which is alternative and experiential tourism. We have a man here who has converted transportation into attraction. So river transport or sea sea cruises were always there, but river was not seen, not even as a transport, frankly. At least in our generation, it was never seen as a transportation thing. But the government did realize the huge potential, the kind of riverfront development programs, and the kind of river life around the river. So we'll know more from Raj Singh, who is now is starting the longest river cruise is starting from
Varanasi to Dibrugarh on the 10th. From Varanasi to Dibrugarh, the ship called Ganga Vilas, of course it's been in news, it will be the single longest river cruise in the world. But mind you, the ship, everything is made in India. वो हमारा है. सब चीज हमारी है. Crew भी सब हमारा ही है. कोई चीज बाहर से नहीं आई है. So that is what makes it so special, is that we are capable of making world-class things. I'll give it to you.
And then हमारे साथ एक खाते पीते व्यक्ति भी है, दिख भी रहे हैं खाते पीते, Rajiv Goyal, who is a chef by passion and who runs food walks in different cities and organizes many gastronomy tours. And so this is a subject where tourists spend about 80% tourists, there's data, more than 80% rather, spend first understand the places to eat before choosing a destination. So it's a huge this thing. Or I don't know, yesterday how many of you liked the dinner here, because we were particular at IATO to get the original Galawat kebab from Tunde specifically. The kebabs that were served to you were actually sourced from Tunde, who makes Galawat kebab, and the pulao, which is biryani, was brought from Idris, which is one of the famous biryani maker in the city. So that is the extent of love for food, and most of you were appreciating the taste that was being given to you yesterday. So this is one area, and then there is a lot of development that is going on. So, of course, like Vishal is the man who did the Kashi Vishwanath corridor. Nobody could imagine that a city which was excused because of being the oldest city in the world, that we cannot do anything, the reason for clutter, the reason for filth and everything was dumped on a city being the oldest. But this man changed it. There was a lot of resentment, I'm sure. So we would first like to know from Vishal that how he did that development work, what was the vision behind, what was the understanding of our Prime Minister in case of the Kashi Vishwanath corridor, and after successfully implementing all these things, he has been given the charge for the Ayodhya corridor. So Vishal, over to you to make us understand that what was your experience when you were doing the Kashi Vishwanath corridor first.
Thank you, Prateek ji. And well, this is a pretty difficult question. I was just talking to Raj Singh ji that it was unimaginable. So I remember when I was posted there back in February of 2018, and I was told that something has to be done here, kuch karna hai. काशी विश्वनाथ जी के मंदिर को डिक्लटर करना है और एक रास्ता बन जाए कि जो दर्शन करने आते हैं लोग वो स्नान करके सीधा काशी विश्वनाथ जी में दर्शन करने चले आए. And believe me, for almost a month and a half, I was just roaming around the place, trying to feel that place, those small, बनारस की गलियां जो थी वो 2.5 फीट तक की गलियां और उसमें 8-8 मंजिल के घर बने हुए थे. So standing in middle of all that, it was so difficult to conceive of something that can be done here. And I remember when for the first time I thought of getting a drone survey done and develop orthomosaic and a 3D map of that area. And when we did that, to understand the place, in its geography, it was like there was no space between houses, there was nothing visible, it was just rooftops. But as I'm really grateful that God chose me to do that work, and I got complete support from federal government as well as state government, and today we can see Kashi Vishwanath the way it is. It took almost 3.5 years for me to purchase all those buildings, pull them down, rehabilitate each and every person who was there, and all that was to be done without any kind of force. Everybody, every single stakeholder should be happy. And when I was transferred out from there in September of 2020, when there was no pending court case, there was no pending objection in anywhere, whereas while the process was going on, we had to go all the way up to Supreme Court a couple of times. But when the construction started, everything just melted down. To summarize this whole thing, how it happened, what was the experience, I mean, I learned from every single person who was opposing the project, who was opposing the whole thought process, and I adopted wherever I could their comments, their critiques, and ultimately it's there. So, and when people ask me this question, it has been now quite some time that I come across, how did you do it types. So if I come to my true feelings, I feel I'm blessed. God just chose me to get that done. And it is not my doing, it is God's own doing. I'm not a very religious person, but yes, I'm deeply spiritual. So I feel it's God's doing that it has happened. And now assignment for Ayodhya. So I'm trying my level best to do whatever I can. And let's see what comes out of it. Thank you, Prateek.
So 7.5, more, about 7.5 crores of tourists have visited.
Yes, it broke all the record last year.
In just 1 year?
Yes.
In just 1 year. So which is incredible.
Thank you.
So we will come back to you later for Ayodhya. And of course I didn't introduce you to Ashwini Panday, who's the Special Secretary and the Managing Director of UP State Development Corporation, with a purpose, because सब लोगों का मिश्रण ये है. तो ये इनको हम इनके पास लास्ट में आएंगे और जितने गिला शिकवे होंगे वो आपसे ही दूर करेंगे. So now let me talk to Mr. Raj Singh about the cruise, that how has his journey been from his first cruise to now, and how did he think about this longest cruise journey, what came to his mind, and what were the problems that he faced, and how is it shaping up now?
Good afternoon, everyone. I know inbound tourism, and one of the things about inbound tourism is that we have to give new products, new way of presenting our country. River cruise tourism is a totally new niche. And so 15-20 years back is when I started this journey, and it has been a long journey. So now we have cruises operating on the Ganga. You'll be surprised that Ganga today is on the world map for river cruise tourism. Our ships have been, Ganges Voyager 2 has been rated among the 6 best river cruise experiences in the world. It's for you to take advantage of the situation and promote river cruise tourism. It's not only Ganga, but our other rivers also have a lot of potential. For example, we are also doing river cruise tourism in Orissa. So next come 2023, we'll have 4 catamarans in Bhitarkanika National Park. You talk of beach tourism. You go on your catamaran, you have your beach to yourself because those beaches are not accessible otherwise. So it's a unique experience of wildlife, beaches and all. Now coming back to river cruise tourism and the longest cruise in the world. Over the years, when I first started doing river cruise tourism, people in UK said, look, you Indians, this was actually a real thing. You Indians, you don't know what river cruise tourism is. And the person who said was actually very true. America baat to sahi hai. And that actually spurred me that we have to make a product which is really world class. So all our cruises now are so much up to a standard that they can compete. Forget the Europeans, the best of the best. When it comes to ratings or that sort of thing, and that rating is given by the passengers, not by anyone else. And they are coming for the last 10 years continuously in large numbers. Shows that it is a good product, it holds a quality. Everyone is aware of Taj hotels, Oberoi hotels. People stay in 2 nights, 1 night in our city of Taj. On a Ganga cruise, they stay 7 nights minimum. And they go happily. So that's one aspect. So keeping that in mind when we started thinking about how to change the whole aspect. So there are many things which evolved. One is this river cruise tourism concept. So having done the cruise from Calcutta to Dhaka 2019, that I did the first ever cruise after 1947. So these are all landmarks for how to do it. And the government of India was part of it. So there was a lot of things. And so once we did it, we realized that what are the practical realities. So we designed a ship which is specifically suited for these long journeys, with the result that the draft of the ship is only 1.2 meters. When we say 1.2 meters, you're talking of what? 6 feet of water, actually, not more than that to cruise. You talk of height of the ship, air draft, 8 meters. The Ganga can be as high, but the ship will be able to go below that. So there are many things. We're talking of sustainability. Today, sustainability is a very big thing. I was in the US, and that's why the question I asked. And one of the big things there is that people will be asking you about sustainability. What is sustainability? Is something which we have to understand. Me, with Antara cruises, our river cruises, have been practicing sustainability for the last over 7-8 years. When we come of sustainability, we are talking of how to reduce the carbon footprint. Do you know something? Once we leave Calcutta, at no place do we use any transport which has fossil fuels. That means all our guests are either going by electric rickshaws for sightseeing or they're walking, which also involves the local communities. I'm telling you one of the aspects. Second aspect of sustainability when we come to river cruise tourism is the fact that we are using local fruits, vegetables. In fact, we are involving the local community. So that is also part of sustainability. The third thing which is important is all our crew is very much local. They're trained. They're not poached, or when I say poaching, I shouldn't use the word, but they're not taken out from Taj or Oberoi's or this and that. We train them, we bring them. These are all part of sustainability. How to make the planet sustainable, how to make the business sustainable, how to make things grow. Anyway, so when we are thinking of this long river cruise, so we thought of all these things. I even had a further vision, which I could not do it, but I can share with you. I wanted to have an all-female crew, actually. But we are still trying to do that, and hopefully we will do that for our future cruises. So this is how this special ship has been designed. The thing about Ganga Vilas as a ship is, it's been not only made in India, designed in India, its concept is very different from all the river cruises, which you see in Europe or other one. It's been designed by people, it's not colonial, it's not Mughal, it's Indian. When I say Indian, it's something which uses all the concepts of India which became independent after 1950s. So whether it is the furniture, whether it's the handmade tiles, everything is handmade. There are things from Varanasi, there are things from other, but everything is handmade. We have used our artisans. So those things also have, it's not only operating it, but how to make that. So that was the other thing. And then, of course, it was to work with the government of India, government of the states, and tell them about this wonderful long cruise, which is to be happen on the 3rd. Of course, the ship will depart from Calcutta on 28th for Varanasi. The cruises are full, by the way. These cruises are full, they're all inbound. So there is a tremendous amount of interest in inbound tourism for river cruising. And on 10th of January, the ship will leave from Varanasi, Patna, Calcutta, Dhaka, Guwahati, Nimati, Dibrugarh. All depends on water conditions, but the ship is actually equipped. I mean, how many of you know that when we go to Sundarbans, not only the Indian Sundarbans, we go to Bangladesh Sundarbans for the first time. So visiting both the Sundarbans. When you go into Sundarbans, the water is salty. For 4 days if you are there, you have to have provisions. So in the ship itself, we have a special tank which can lay 90,000 liters of fresh water. You don't have to. Otherwise, there is always a freshwater machine to do it. So many of these things were taken into consideration. And we are looking forward to this long journey, which will be a challenge for me, for every one of us. But for us, it's a matter of pride that we can do these things in India with our own resources. And the government of India, the government of UP, the government of Bihar, all of them, or Assam, are all on board with us. So that's the thing about the longest river cruise in the world. Now coming to the UP, I have interacted with Panday ji. Actually, I have also been to Ayodhya. My one vision for Ayodhya, which I suggested about 4 or 5 years back when I did the service, I said we can do a wonderful cruise from Saryu, Ayodhya to Varanasi. It can be done. And they wanted to do it instantly. I said instantly you can't do it because for each river has its own character. You have to design a ship which will undergo the bridges, have the right draft and all. So we have done that and we have that in mind for the future to do it with the UP government. But on the other hand, one of the things is, just to let you know, is that we are going to be posting a ship in Prayagraj, Varanasi area. One of our all-suite ships which is undergoing fitting and all will be there from October. It would be a cruise which will operate only in Uttar Pradesh. That means it will start from Prayagraj, Chunar, Varanasi, where's the opium factory? Ghazipur, and end up in Balia. Now, when we say of Balia, how many of us are heard? That's something I heard about from the Chief Minister of UP when he came to inaugurate or announce the cruise, is that it's a place which sends exporting vegetables, organic vegetables to the Middle East. I said, wow. So we are going to trying to make a stop there, visit these farms and these areas. So this is something which will be from October onwards. We will have this cruise which will be operating only in this area, one way or the other. So that's something which we are doing with the UP government, and we are all excited. Thank you. I hope I haven't taken more time.
No, because of course you are smiling, but there is also pain behind this smile when you've gone through that journey. So which we will talk later, okay. And we are represented by the state, by Ashwini Panday, and also I see Mr. Rakesh Verma sitting there, Additional Secretary, Government of India Tourism. So आप भी बचेंगे नहीं, जो pain points हैं वो आपको भी address करने पड़ेंगे. Anyway. So now going to Eva Sharma, who is the additional PCCF, and she is, the thing that I noted was that she is the chairperson for the Ecotourism board. Now what is this ecotourism? I always thought that forest and tourism are two departments that cannot go together. What has happened that what is this ecotourism? So you have both the terms, forest and the tourism in it. So what is it? Can you elaborate on this?
Thank you, Prateek ji. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah,
I'm audible? Yeah. Firstly, to showcase our ecotourism work, I'll request Mr. Gangotri, DLM Ecotourism, to present coffee table book of Dudhwa National Park to all our esteemed guests on the dais.
We also have the additional secretary from the Government of India, Mr. Rakesh Verma, so we can invite him also if you want to present some book or something.
Bring all of them. Bring all of them.
Aye, sir. Just 2 minutes we can do this. We'll present it to you. Just a moment, I'll just set it all right and you can go over this.
This is good. Thank you. I'll now talk about ecotourism, what it is and how it is different from tourism. It is very confusing. People always associate tourism with ecotourism, but it's not. It's more or less similar, but with a difference. Ecotourism is responsible tourism in which we create an awareness for the conservation, for the preservation of biodiversity, conservation of the flora and fauna, and also the upliftment of the local communities by providing employment, generating employment in those areas. Coming to our state of Uttar Pradesh, in UP, ecotourism was started in the year 2014 in just 2 districts, Lakhimpur Kheri and Bahraich. Lakhimpur Kheri in Dudhwa National Park and Bahraich Katarnia Ghat Wildlife Sanctuary. The influx of visitors was very meager in the sense that in 1 year we got a maximum of 450 to 500 visitors. The revenue generation was very less. But by the time we had it for 3-4 years, the response started coming and we were motivated to open another ecotourism area for the visitors, and that was Pilibhit Tiger Reserve in the year 2017. Pre-COVID, the response was very good. The influx of visitors was very nice. The revenue generation also crossed more than 2 crore rupees. But COVID had an adverse impact on tourism, and so was the case with ecotourism. Gradually we have started to pick up, and we are hopeful that in the coming days ecotourism will get a good boost. In 2014, the state government enacted the UP Ecotourism policy, in which ecotourism was to be practiced in a circuit approach. Like I said, to provide livelihood to the local community, for employment generation and the upliftment of the people also, plus environment regeneration was also in the policy. In 2022, the UP Tourism Department had the UP Ecotourism Development Board enacted, and the Forest Department is committed to work in tandem with UP Tourism Department towards the implementation of ecotourism activities. In ecotourism, we have divided our sectors into 9 wildlife sectors, or we call them circuits, and 38 ecotourism destinations. In the Tarai Tiger Circuit, Like I said earlier, we have Dudhwa National Park, Katarnia Ghat Wildlife Sanctuary, Pilibhit Tiger Reserve and Kishanpur Sanctuary. Ecotourism is already flourishing in these sectors. Then we have the Western Wildlife Circuit, in which Amangarh Tiger Reserve is there. Amangarh Tiger Reserve happens to be in Bijnor district. This year, from 15th of November, we have started Jeep Safari in Amangarh. Morning and evening, Jeep Safari has been started. Amangarh Tiger Reserve happens to be the buffer of Corbett National Park. And a very good place. On the 15th of November happens to be the start of ecotourism season. We started ecotourism at several other places apart from the earlier three that I listed. One is Amangarh, second is Sohagi Barwa Wildlife Sanctuary, and this is in Maharajganj district. Here too, we have started with the Jeep Safari. In Amangarh and Sohagi Barwa, we are thinking of stay facility also, but presently we have just started with the Jeep Safari. Similarly, we started Jeep Safari in Lakhimpur Kheri also, very nice tiger sighting area, that is Mohammadi Forest. And we are hopeful that we'll be able to invite visitors there. I would like to share with you that in Chitrakoot, we have started, in fact, it is in a proposal, and hopefully in 2023 we'll be able to get a glass skywalk constructed on Tulsi waterfall, which happens to be in Chitrakoot, and it should be constructed in 2023, and it is on the pattern of what we have in Rajgir, Bihar. And apart from the glass skywalk, there will be a rock garden, an interpretation center, medicinal plants, and cactus garden, and many other things. Hopefully, that will be a very good ecotourism spot. Chitrakoot, as it is a good ecotourism destination and tourism destination also. And then, a very few kilometers away from Varanasi, in Chandoli district, we have Rajdari and Devdari waterfalls. Extremely beautiful waterfalls, but private people were carrying out ecotourism, and we are also thinking on their lines and trying to associate them in starting ecotourism in Rajdari, Devdari. There's Orvatan waterfall a little ahead. It also has very primitive rock paintings, and in the coming 6 months or so, we are hopeful to start ecotourism there also. So these are a few places where we have started ecotourism activities. Bird sanctuaries are there. Bird sanctuaries have very good influx of visitors, like Nawabganj Bird Sanctuary in Unnao, around 45 minutes drive from Lucknow. There's Sandi Sanctuary, which is in Hardoi. Lakh Bahosi is in Kannauj, and Samaspur in Raebareli. There's Okhla Bird Sanctuary in Gautam Budh Nagar. All are having good visitors. The state government has also decided to have a night safari in Kukrel. This is a very important project which we are having, and it will have the night safari as well as the Lucknow Zoo will be also shifted to Kukrel. These are a few ecotourism areas in in which the Forest Department is working, and we request help from all of you to get associated with the ecotourism activities that we are doing so that it gets a good boost and we are able to invite more and more visitors to these places. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have a lot of diversified areas in the state of UP in terms of wildlife, which most of the operators sitting here did not know, and they were restricted to just Dudhua, which we were selling always. Now, we have Rajiv Goyal with us, who runs food walks and does a lot of research on food tourism, and he was instrumental in kind of pressurizing and coaxing the government to include food tourism as one of the thrust areas, which has now come in the new UP tourism policy. And of course, the central government was always happy to consider food tourism as one of the subjects. So quickly, Rajiv, from you, we would like to know that what are the areas where UP can come up as a food tourism destination?
So thank you, Prateek ji, for introduction. There is no much space left for me to say even by the last night dinner and the today's lunch. I must mark it that the amazing matar ka nimona, dal ke fare, it is a very good example. Most of the people haven't heard those dishes even. And this is a very easy, and this is a tip of an iceberg they have touched or showcased just now. We can imagine, I'm sure the complete hall is waiting after this event. They will either visit or already visited Kababi, Tunde Kababi or Biryani Guy or anywhere. And this is how we see India. I'm an inbound tour operator, and I've been just operating in food tour from last 11 years. And I must mark here that, we are our own enemies. आज हम जब ऑपरेट करते हैं सबसे पहले बोलते हैं कि भाई इसको यहाँ नहीं खिलाना, उसको वहाँ नहीं खिलाना. अगर इतना ही खराब होता हमारा खाना, तो we wouldn't have grown up to 1.2 billion people. हम इतने लोग, इतनी जनसंख्या नहीं बढ़ पाती इतना अगर हमारा खाना खराब होता किसी के लिए. The biggest gap we are assuming is that we are not educated enough in terms of food. That is a primary thing. और मेरे हिसाब से तो food tourism is a common backbone. अगर हो सकता है कि आप किसी शहर जा रहे हैं, साइट सीइंग करे ना करे, 3 बार आपको खाना ही पड़ेगा. तो 5 दिन अगर आप कहीं घूमने जा रहे हैं, 15 बार खाना खाओगे. आप कैलकुलेट कर लीजिए, इट इज द हाईएस्ट डन एक्टिविटी इन थ्रू आउट टूर. कोई भी टूर ऑपरेटर इस बात से डिनाई नहीं कर सकता. बट वाई एंड यूपी ऐसी जगह है कि आप तो हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट वन फूड वन कैन एंजॉय इट. मैंने तो 2 एग्जाम्पल दिए. कल आपने गलावटी कबाब खाया, आज हमने दोपहर में मटर का निमोना खाया और दाल के फरे खाया. एंड यू गोना बी हियर फॉर अनदर 2 days. सो आई एम श्योर यू गोना एक्सपीरियंस सच अ डिफरेंट मेन्यू एंड अंडरस्टैंड की हाउ डाइवर्स दिस कल्चर इज. एंड अपॉर्चुनिटी के बारे में अगर बात करी जाए तो मेरे हिसाब से कार के ड्राइवर, जो एक आपका टूर ऑपरेटर का ड्राइवर है, उससे लेके आपके फूड, जो आपका टूर गाइड है, ही नीड टू बी इक्विप्ड विद द बेसिक फूड नॉलेज, बेसिक फूड एलर्जीज अबाउट कि क्या खा सकते हैं, क्या नहीं खा सकते हैं. वी शुड नॉट बी एग्जम्प्टेड कि यार इसको देसी खाना नहीं खिलाना है या ये खाना खा के बीमार हो जाएगा. पहले तो हमें ये अपने माइंडसेट से निकालना है. सेकेंडरी हम इसको बेच पाएंगे तभी हम. दूसरी चीज, मुझे यूपी में ऑफ कोर्स आई सी अ इमेंस पोटेंशियल इन टर्म्स ऑफ, जैसे आप बनारस आप जाएंगे, घाट देख लिए, सब कुछ कर लिया, बस खाना तो इज अ मेन प्राइमरी थिंग. कचौड़ी गली है वहां पर, मतलब गली का नाम कचौड़ी वाली गली है, तो यू कैन इमेजिन दैट हाउ एंड वी कैन नॉट फॉरगेट दैट व्हेन वी हाईलाइट वाराणसी इटसेल्फ. It is not the word history started after that city, we can say that. It is older than the term history. और जब इतनी पुरानी सभ्यता है तो डेफिनेटली खाना भी पुराना ही होगा हमारा. और दैट इज वन ऑफ द मेजर फैक्टर वी कैन हाईलाइट. हमारे कितने ऋषि मुनि हुए हैं. ऋषि सुश्रुत ने खाने के ऊपर बहुत सारी चीजें लिखी हैं. माँ अन्नपूर्णा, देवी अन्नपूर्णा है, और देवी अन्नपूर्णा का मंदिर जो है वो अपना वाराणसी में है, और काशी विश्वनाथ मंदिर के वहीं पर ही है, आई नो. हाँ, सो और इमेजिन दैट हाउ क्रेजी वी आर. हमारे खाने का भगवान है, डेडिकेटेड भगवान है. खिचड़ी वाले बाबा है वहां पर, एक वो खिचड़ी बनती है. सो हमारे यहाँ तो खाना मरने से लेके, मरने का मेन्यू अलग है और जीने का मेन्यू अलग है. कि आपके घर में बच्चा हुआ है तो उसका मेन्यू अलग मिलेगा आपको, और आपके घर में बच्चा हुआ है तो उसका मेन्यू अलग है आपका. तो हाउ फोकस वी आर अबाउट द फूड और हाउ फूड सेंट्रिक वी आर. बट हम इसको Okay, I don't mind music. अच्छा, so इतना फूड सेंट्रिक है, बट हम उसको कन्वर्ट या बेच नहीं पाते. मुझे लगता है आज भी जो एक गेस्ट ट्रैवल करता है वही बटर चिकन, वही चिकन टिक्का और लेम अपना, आई डोंट हैव अ कंप्लेंट्स अबाउट इट, और वो भी ढंग से नहीं खिलाते हैं. वी हैव अ स्पेसिफिक रेस्टोरेंट्स कि भाई इसी रेस्टोरेंट पे जाना है, यही खाना खाना है, वही टिपिकल मेन्यू खाना है. और वो लिटरली आई सी कि गोरा पागल हो जाता है, भाई कितनी बार मैं बटर चिकन खा लूंगा एक ट्रिप में. इफ आई एम कमिंग टू यूपी आई शुड टेस्ट यूपी फूड. इफ आई एम ट्रैवलिंग, और यूपी में भी स्पेसिफिकली मैं बात कर रहा हूँ. आज हमने दो नॉनवेज डिश थी यहाँ पर आज, और दोनों ही अमेजिंग थी. और आई कैन गारंटी किसी ने नहीं खा रखा होगा, जो यूपी से नहीं है उसने भी नहीं खा रखा होगा ये खाना. तो आई सी एज अ इमेंस पोटेंशियल एंड रियली लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड. कल मिस्टर वैष्णव ने भी इस बात को हाईलाइट करा कि दे वांट एंड दे आर एक्टिवली. आई मस्ट मार्क, अभी जीआई टैग के बारे में एग्जाम्पल के तौर पर बात करता हूँ मैं. हम सब जानते हैं पार्मेजान चीज के बारे में. आई गेस मोस्ट ऑफ अस नो पार्मेजान चीज, बट पार्मेजान चीज एक जगह के नाम पर चीज बना हुआ है, पार्मा के नाम पर. इट्स अ जीआई टैग प्रोडक्ट. अब आप कहोगे खाने से टूरिज्म का क्या लेना, मतलब you cannot imagine the number of visitors they receive in Parma just to taste the cheese. Just to taste the cheese. आज हमारे पास जीआई टैग 400 तकरीबन है हमारे इंडिया में टोटल, अभी 400 से कम ही है. और विद इन द 400 में से भी 60% हमारे टेक्सटाइल और हैंडीक्राफ्ट के हैं. कैन यू इमेजिन? इतनी बड़ी कंट्री, इतना डाइवर्स कल्चर, इतने सारे फूड आइटम है हमारे पास में. अगर हम एक खाना पकड़ के बैठेंगे तो हम 1000 जीआई टैग करा सकते. इटली जैसी छोटी सी कंट्री के पास 1600 जीआई टैग है. इमेजिन, छोटी सी कंट्री के पास 1600 जीआई टैग. शैंपेन इज जस्ट अ स्पार्कलिंग वाइन, बट जो शैंपेन शहर में नहीं बनी, इट विल बी नॉट बी काउंटेड एज शैंपेन. आज हम बात कर रहे हैं एग्जाम्पल के तौर पर, लखनऊ में इतने सारे प्रोडक्ट है जो हमें जीआई टैग कराने चाहिए, एंड वी विल डू इट. वी स्पोक अबाउट इट. एट द सेम टाइम आज की डेट में खाली 2 जीआई टैग प्रोडक्ट है पूरे यूपी में, जिसमें से एक चावल है और एक मेरे ख्याल से पान है. सिर्फ 2 जीआई टैग प्रोडक्ट है, तो वो भी थोड़ा सा लिमिट हो जाता है. बट आई एम श्योर आने वाले समय में हम बहुत सारी चीजें देखेंगे विच आर नेटिव टू यूपी, एंड स्पेसिफिकली विल ट्राई टू बिल्ड अप द प्रोडक्ट ऑन जीआई टैग. बिकॉज हम जब बात करते हैं जीआई टैग की, तो वी टेक दिस थिंग ग्लोबली. ये आपको इसी शहर में इसी जगह पर मिलेगा. दैट इज मोर पिन पॉइंटेड मार्केटिंग टूल फॉर आवर टूर ऑपरेटर्स कि यार वहां जाओगे तो आगरा का पेठा, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, हम किसी को भी पकड़ के पूछेंगे यहाँ पर, तो उसके पास में हर शहर की एक लिस्ट होगी कि यहाँ जाओगे तो ये जरूर खाना है. हम अपने लिए लिस्ट इंप्लीमेंट करते हैं, बट अपने टूरिज्म के लिए हम उसको प्रमोट नहीं करते हैं. So that is something I would say कि we should start doing that now.
I think it's a very interesting topic, and I must give you credit for introducing me to the local liquor of Rajasthan, and thank you for the bottles that you sent.
And I heard UP में कोई wine is brewing, somebody is brewing wine.
Yes. So
and
they have in the excise they have a complete policy where they are wanting to encourage the people to come into UP and make these wines from different fruits, and even mango they are trying. So there's a lot of work going on in this state of UP, but yes, very interesting. So let me now come back to Vishal Singh again. And now quickly we would like to know that what are the things happening in Ayodhya, which operators, which the industry, hoteliers can look forward to in the coming 1 year or so.
Again, thanks for giving me a chance. I'll be selfish before I begin talking about Ayodhya. I'll request my fellow panelists to please focus on Ayodhya. There is a lot of geotagging on food items that can be done. You are most welcome to come and explore Ayodhya once from this point of view, which hasn't been done as yet. And then I'll request ma'am to start at least one project to begin with for ecotourism in Ayodhya. We already have a site, ma'am. So there's a big bird sanctuary which I'm developing, but it requires special attention from Department of Forests. I'm in touch with my fellow officers, DFO and all that, but if we get some wisdom and guidance from you, it will come out much better. And again, then Raj Singh ji, I'll request cruise. We are starting local cruise, but this connecting Ayodhya and Varanasi is a wonderful idea. And if we can do it before actually highways are widened, that will be a great experience. So many people would want to come to Ayodhya from Varanasi. So you can make that happen for Ayodhya. So all of you are welcome. I'll share my coordinates with each of you and pester you to do something in Ayodhya. So what is happening in Ayodhya? Well, it's a very short time. It has been just 2 years. And when I was posted here, I was given a task of conceptualizing a vision for Ayodhya. So that was a beginning in the state of UP. We started where we started to plan before we develop. So that there was a complete vision development exercise which has been done by the Ayodhya Development Authority with lots of consultation from every walk of life, from tourists to academicians to retired bureaucrats to politicians and to sadhus, mahatmas, to spiritual leaders. Everybody you can think of, we have touched almost all walks of life who are interested in Ayodhya. So after these consultations, we developed the vision document, and that vision document has been actually approved by none less than the Honorable Prime Minister, and we are following that. So if I may, I'll just use my laptop for brief references because it's not possible to remember. So while it's getting switched on, we, in the vision document itself, Honorable Prime Minister said that we should try and make Ayodhya global spiritual capital of the world. So now we are working towards making Vaticans or Jerusalems or whatever you might call for the Sanatan Dharma in Ayodhya. So it's a big transformation. Ayodhya is a very small, forgotten kind of town a few years back, and now we have to
Meanwhile, I'll take the lead here and I'll tell you about another interesting point that Mata Sita ने 5 रसोई बनाई थी अपने पूरे उसमें काल में. तो उनमें से 2 रसोई मेरे ख्याल से यूपी में पड़ती हैं, 2 माता रसोई. So that can be also a food tourism destination.
So well, I don't know, something has gone wrong with it. So we are trying to focus on to develop this city as a global spiritual tourism capital. Global spiritual capital, we are trying to focus on 3 aspects for the city development. There are 3 goals. One is to make it a sustainable and smart city, because we have to use technology for various developmental aspects. And then we have to make it a global tourism hub. So we are focusing on various activities to promote tourism, diversified tourism, not only religious or spiritual tourism, but also all various facets of tourism as we have just discussed. That is another aspect. And we are also trying to make it a sustainable city. As my fellow panelist Raj Singh ji said, it's an inclusive plan. We are not leaving behind those who are residing in Ayodhya. We are focusing big time on education. We are focusing big time on skill development, employability, reskilling, industry associations, everything. So we are planning on that also. And I think we have touched almost all the aspects, be it healthcare or medical tourism. We are trying to develop Vedic universities to Vedic Ayurvedic centers. We have already tied up with a lot of people out there, and the work has also started. We are also trying to work and very diligently with Department of Tourism, and Ashwini, my colleague, he is aware of what all is going on in Ayodhya. So we are trying to remodel, rebuild various historical and religious sites which have somehow become dilapidated over a period of time and lack public amenities. So we are trying to bring back all those religious and spiritual sites across Panchakosi, Chaudah Kosi and Chaurasi Kosi. This is the only tourist, Tirth in Saptapuris where we have 3 parikramas, and these parikramas are basically concentric circles, they touch each other on the Ram Janmabhoomi temple. So all these parikramas start. So we use these concentric parikramas as, different types of facilities are being created. Within Panchkosi, it is a strictly religious tourism, and we are focusing on providing amenities and expectations that people might have from a religious point of view. After Panchkosi and between Panchkosi and Chaudah Kosi, it is slightly relaxed, but yes, it is again something to do with more on religious tourism and some historical and spiritual tourism aspects into it. And after Chaudah Kosi and within Chaurasi Kosi, we have relaxed all these restrictions, and we are trying to develop different types of tourist attractions which one can think of. And as we talk, we are trying to create more and more accommodations in Ayodhya. We are trying to develop circuits. We are trying to connect this whole calendar of events for Ayodhya over a period of one single year. And we are identifying what all those activities or what all those expectations one can have when they are planning to visit Ayodhya. We are developing intuitive apps, intuitive technologies, so that people can integrate them into our development plan, so that people can feel at ease. And we are working on human capacity development of local residents so as to become ready for people when they come here, come to Ayodhya. And I will request all of you who are present here, please include Ayodhya in your itinerary, and we will make sure that your expectations are met with, and your tourists and your entourage goes back happily. Thank you.
Just to inform you that 160 delegates out of these have chosen Ayodhya as an excursion on the 19th. So
sure.
Half of them go further to Varanasi, and half of them come back to Lucknow as a post-convention tour.
Wonderful.
And this was the tour that got full first among all the tours that we were offering. So that's a great thing for us in UP.
Thank you. I mean, I'm like not able to access my presentation,
okay.
but let me tell you, to visit a city where it is made is one experience, but to visit a city where it is being made in the transition period, that's what you are going to see in Ayodhya. And I mean, as we keep saying, it is the 75th anniversary of the country also in terms of freedom. I can assure that you will have that, get that faith that yes, Ayodhya is on the right path. And we also expect to get more and more inputs from you, feedback from you, that where do I need to change my course to make it better.
And it's a privilege for all of us to see Ayodhya in the making, because then
yes.
later on everybody will see.
So there's a word that I have coined. While I was in Varanasi, I gave a slogan, punchline, that Badalta Banaras. और उसके बाद then जब मंदिर inaugurate हो गया, so we said बदल गया बनारस. And in Ayodhya, the word that I've coined is Savarti Ayodhya. Or I think in very soon you will see that Samar Gaya Ayodhya. Hope it happens.
Great. So just let me quickly come back to Mr. Raj Singh with 1 minute pain points that you have gone through the state government and through the center when coming up with your project. Very quickly.
Okay. Planning a trip, which is going to be the longest river cruise, is not initially the main. People did not even understand the concept. To have the concept accepted, who's going to come? It's like Ganga, when we started the first cruising. Who's going to come in Ganga? There's no water. There are bodies floating. There's so much of negativity. That's what you have to fight first. So anyway, the first challenge was that. Having done that and going through that, there are many challenges. And when we are going to be operating, we are in touch with the central government, Ministry of Shipping, who have been very, very supportive, as well as the state governments. The challenge for operating cruises in Ganga is that between Patna and Varanasi, there are 10 pontoon bridges, Deepa Pul. Those bridges have to be open when a ship has to pass. Now, of course, everyone is aware of it. So each pull, each bridge, each thing, if it takes 2 hours, you're taking off 20 hours. So there are these challenges, and the state is aware of it, and we will be able to hopefully overcome that. Our other challenges in cruise infrastructure. I may tell you, river cruise tourism is not even mentioned in the Government of India literature. They need to at least put it that this is an activity which is there. I've been trying to get it done through for the last few years, but I have not been successful. So I am requesting the Honorable Sir, who's here, to try to make ensure that river cruise tourism, especially the Ganga, Brahmaputra, where we are on the river map, should be made as like any other thing, you know. That's my humble request. So besides that is the basic infrastructure actually does not exist. When I say basic infrastructure, we are talking of where the people will get off, get on. Yes, the states are working on it, the central government is working on it, and we hope. But you know how we Indians are, हम कुछ ना कुछ जुगाड़ कर ही लेते हैं. जुगाड़ू हैं तो कर लेंगे और करते आए हैं. But जो proper international standard से होना चाहिए वो नहीं है. बन रहा है, समय लगेगा, but we have to live with it and move forward. So that's our next challenge. Our third challenge is, which is also there, is of course there are many challenges, but I'm telling you main one is of course that these are cruises going for the first time. These will be inter-country cruises because we go through Bangladesh, through Sundarbans. The other would be go through immigrations and customs. Those facilities, of course, do not actually exist. They are there in the SOPs and all. So it has been clarified by the Ministry of Shipping and the Ministry of Home have done that. And I would request again the Ministry of Tourism to be part of these unique projects. I'm not asking for any aid or anything, just to be aware of it, that we are doing these things which are world class, which are in the, if you see the world literature today, Ganga Vilas, you see on YouTube, it's tuning. The day Yogi Ji announced that this cruise would operate, it was, I mean, I'm not a techie person, but I was told it's trending as top on the Google news item. So you can imagine the importance of things like that for tourism, and especially for inbound tourism. Inbound, ye cheezein, yes, domestic ke liye bhi hai. I'm not saying that domestic tourism for river cruising is very limited to 1 night or 2 nights maximum. We have done that during COVID. For international, for inbound, this is a cash cow. Depends on how you can cash it. Because it's 7 nights, 14 nights. There is much more you are going to make than you make in a hotel, actually. So it's a good thing. So these are some of the challenges. Talking of Vishal Singh, I'll just suggest something to him. You are also sitting on something which is very unique in Ayodhya. I surveyed that river. From Ayodhya to Upar Jane ke liye, the river water there is pristine. There is a very good population of Gangetic dolphins in that area. So that area can be a protected area and developed as a boat ride for a Gangetic river dolphins, as well as migrant birds, because I did see that time. Who are there. So besides religious tour is there. People come see that. फिर क्या करें? चलो अगर उनको रहना है कि चलो boat cruise पे जाते हैं. What are we going to see? We are going to see dolphins. We are going to see birds. So there are a lot of these potentials which are there, and by protecting that, we can keep our rivers clean. Important things clean. तो इसीलिए ये है कि हमारे जहाज़ों में भी हमारे STP plant, there's nothing we discharge in the rivers. We have got oil separators. सब चीज जो है according to international standards. So there are challenges, and we are, hopefully we will overcome them, and you will hear about it. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. So now let us go finally to our Dukh Harta, Ashwini Panday, who is the Special Secretary and the Managing Director of UPSTDC, and he's the man who has come up with his team and his seniors with a wonderful UP tourism policy for which we saw the presentation earlier today, which was given by Mr. Mukesh Kumar Meshram. Now, what are the key points in terms of especially the experiential tourism, where we have food tourism, we have forest, we have spiritual tourism, religious tourism. So what are those key points that you would like to highlight, and how you are seeing all these being addressed by your Department of Tourism?
Thank you, Prateek. And first of all, I would like to welcome all the IATO delegates here, and it's a privilege for the state of UP to host you in the city of Lucknow. And as we have been having discussions that there are immense possibilities in the state of UP, be it spiritual or religious tourism. We are land of Lord Rama, Buddha, Krishna, Shiva. We have Jain Tirthankars here. We have enormous potential in ecotourism, experiential tourism. And in last 4 to 5 years, we have seen that the infrastructure development taken up by the government has addressed to the connectivity issue to some extent. We have 6 major operating expressways and 2 proposed expressways, 2 under construction expressways. So, and in addition to that, we also have 3 international airports, 6 domestic airports, 7 proposed airports. So connectivity is somehow taken care of. One other issue that we see is that a lot of inbound tourists that we need to develop the facilities for them. Be it accommodation, be it public amenities, be it restaurants, be it the services that they need, be it the product that they want to take back. So for all that we have addressed in our policy, we have made it very liberal in terms of attracting more and more investment to our state. For that we have been giving, we are providing, as Mukesh sir in the morning suggested, showed that we are providing 25% subsidy, capital subsidy, we are providing interest subsidy, we are providing developmental charges. We are giving, for the first time, we are trying to give the industry status to all the tourism units, so that they can gain the benefits of electrical duty and other taxes, benefits from the government. So we have tried to make this policy very attractive from the point of view of investment, and very recently government of UP is going to we are conducting Global Investment Summit, and we have already signed MOUs from different parts of investors from different parts of the world. We have conducted roadshow in different countries so that we can attract more and more investors, and those investors are going to provide the services and world-class services and develop infrastructure which are going to go a long way in the tourism sector in Uttar Pradesh. In addition to that, we are also designing and drafting our standard operating procedures, our rules and regulations, so that they are very easy to understand and very easy to implement also from the point of view of the department in terms of interdepartmental coordination as well as from coordination with the investor. So we are in process of developing that. We have tried our level best to attract more and more investors and provide them space. As we all know, we have discussed that Ayodhya, Kashi, all are coming up. We have Buddhist circuits, so there is immense potential for inbound tourism, and we are on the right path, I think.
No, I think I must vouch for it that this government, both at the center and the state, has ears, because the policies that are being made, the new policies, especially the 2022 policy, and I was involved in when the policy was being drafted, thanks to the Department of Tourism, and I could see that it's an implementable, practically implementable policy, which is very important for the policy. So thank you to all my panelists, and before we get off the stage, can we take just 1 or 2 questions maybe from the audience? Just a quick 2 questions maybe. Yeah, please.
Hi sir, I'm Sunit Kothari from Mumbai.
So just keep the mic closer.
Yeah. We've been hearing all these great products that UP Tourism has been showcasing. There's one thing that is missing, which I feel is the perfumery. You see, perfumery is a big business in France, and they invite tourists to visit their factories where they charge a minimum of 35 euros per person. You know, so that comes to about almost, you could say 3,000 rupees a person. Now, since you have Kannauj, which is the perfumery capital of India, why not also showcase that city on your tourist map, and also have smart brochures and digital banners on that? And sir, for Mr. Singh, just one observation, sir. We would like you to come to Aurangabad and also do one Kailash Krishneshwar corridor there. We would like to have your expertise on the panel and advise the government of Maharashtra. We've been writing to them, but since you are a living example of how against all odds and challenges you've delivered superb results, so we'd like to invite you there.
Gujarat model के बाद UP model का copy होगा हर state में,
yes,
I think
absolutely.
very soon.
And
Yeah,
so for
news.
you also, sir, why don't you explore in Maharashtra?
the Godavari river cruises from Nasik to Aurangabad and beyond. Make a pilot study. There's a living example of your Ganga cruises. So why not have something Godavari cruises in Maharashtra also, sir? Thank you.
Thank you. Definitely, Kannauj is one of the important destination for us, and perfume are world famous, and we have been in the process of developing a museum there, and the point well taken. We will, of course, develop marketing material and promotional material from that point of view. Thank you.
For the Godavari, what we need is for your state government to at least approach us. If they are interested in something like that, then only we'll spend the time, energy. You know, on our own, if we go, we have a lot of, we have the Ganga, we have got so many other places there. So if for us, whoever is interested, it's like MP, they're very much interested. I've been working for them with 5 years, 5 साल हो गए. मैंने कहा ये जब तक clear नहीं होगा नहीं करेंगे, वो कर रहे हैं. So it takes a lot of time because it's a grey area. River cruise tourism is new. So there are no laws at some places, so you have to clarify that. So once the state is involved, they do that, then only things can proceed.
So we have the last question from the lady there.
Yeah, hi. I'm Ritu Makhija from Tough Tigers. And it's great to know the kind of development which is happening in UP, and that's considering that there's been an ecotourism board which was set up in 2014. So amazing, and with the progress which the Ayodhya has had. My only question is any action or any policy being put in place for carrying capacity? Because that's one of the problems which kind of always, you know, pulls India down in terms of over-tourism which starts to happen. So is there any thoughts which have been gone towards that?
Yeah, I would like to tell that in our national parks, for example, Dudhwa National Park, we have a management plan. It is called Tiger Conservation Plan. In that we have the carrying capacity of the park, how much is the carrying capacity, they have calculated it, and accordingly we register the vehicles to enter inside the park. We don't allow too many vehicles to be registered. The field director of Dudhwa National Park or any other tiger reserve, he allows only that much vehicles for jeep safari as prescribed in the Tiger Conservation Plan.
Yeah, I'm sure that's great, but is there any further in Ayodhya? Are we having in that? I mean, safaris we generally can manage and we can control, but anything happening in Ayodhya towards that?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, as I said, that we have done envisioning exercise first. So we are planning Ayodhya for 2047 already, and roads and infrastructure is going to be made according to that. But you know, the core city, the Ramkot, the place where Lord Rama was born, that is something which is ancient, and we don't want to disturb that as such. So we are trying to just maintain it, build it back, but carrying capacity for that place has to be limited. So we'll be controlling the whole circulation plan. We are developing circulation plan for the city. We have already done 3D modeling. We are developing LOD 2.5, LOD 3, LOD 3.5, LOD 4, so as to understand how, and then project it into the future. And we are trying to create that, but that is possible only for what is being done afresh. Those things which we are getting as legacy, there's nothing much that we can do. But having said that, you were also planning on, since we are planning on diversification of tourism, and we are trying to distribute places of interest, we are trying to create specific circuits, and we are trying to make a schedule when people want to do heritage walk or when people want to go for, let's say, ecotourism, as ma'am said. We are trying to link that Ayodhya also to different places of interest around, depending upon the themes. So all that is being done, but yes, we'll be cautious, and thank you for bringing it out to our notice.
And the government is conscious about this fact, and we have the mention of responsible tourism in our new tourism policy for 2022. So with that, I thank all my panelists, and over to Rini.
Thank you very much. May I request our panelists to just remain on stage for a minute or so. We have little tokens of appreciation that we'd like Prateek to please do us the honors of presenting to our speakers. Mr. Panday, Mr. Singh, Ms. Sharma, Mr. Raj Singh, and Dr. Goyal. Thank you very much. A quick photograph with all of you, and then we're on to our next session. We're moving on from this session now to the presentation from the states, and we've got the state of Uttarakhand that's going to make the presentation. May I request all our audience members to please remain seated. We still have things going on.